Welcome back, guys, or if you're new to my channel, this is Automotive Anonymous, and that's my turbocharged Subaru Outback. If you're interested in a turbocharged Subaru, you can get it in a variety of models between, of course, the WRX, or the Legacy XT, or the Ascent, or the Outback XT, but after about 3 years, I still love this thing. It's the first turbo Subaru that I've owned, and for good reason, which we're going to get into in this video for why I would not have bought one of the earlier ones. But why I absolutely love daily driving this 2.4-liter turbo. Sure, it doesn't have the box rumble from the unequal length headers of the EJs of the past, but I still think that this is a dang good vehicle, and part of having the turbo is what makes a Subaru, at least in my opinion. So we're going to get into the 7 things that I absolutely love about this, and if you guys can relate, if you have more to add to the list, please comment below. Like this video, subscribe if you haven't already. Otherwise, here's my list of 7 of the best things about owning this vehicle, or a variety of the turbocharged FA engine. The first thing I love about this platform is, just for simplicity's sake, all of Subaru's turbo boxer engines are now the same FA24DIT. So it's all the same block, it's all the same intercooler, the same turbo, all the same stuff. Sure, the WRX technically has a different power rating because of the software tuning, but mechanically it's all the same. It's not like 20 years ago when there was a 2-liter WRX and a 2.5-liter STI, and then later a 2.5-liter WRX and a 2.5-liter STI that each had a 40 horsepower power difference. There was a lot of still interchangeable parts, but a lot more confusion back then. This is now the same 2.4-liter turbocharged engine. The turbo is even a name brand Garrett down in the front, and if I have old footage of that when I installed my LED light bar, I'll include that over the screen right here. But it's just nice, and then they're overbuilt, so you don't have to worry about leaking oil and grenading on itself and things like that from the old EJs. Sure, those were one of the coolest engines ever produced, especially 20 years ago when you could launch an all-wheel drive car and have the box rumble. That was a really cool time to be alive and to be a car enthusiast, but these are just much better built. Subaru has really learned from their mistakes, and they've learned how to overbuild these for their current generation. So you have thicker connecting rods, thicker cylinder walls, and better, thicker beehive styled springs. So basically, the engine is no longer the reliability point or something that you need to worry about. Plus, Subaru has also refined a lot of the maintenance and a lot of the accessibility to how you access this engine. So that's a win in my book, and one of the nicest things about having a turbo Subaru. The second thing I love about owning this vehicle is it's basically as fast as the WRX. It does weigh a little bit more, has more ground clearance, it has more physics acting against it, but it has a more aggressive final drive ratio, so it actually puts down the power fairly similarly. And in my personal testing, without beating on this all day long, it has ran a best 0 to 60 true time of 6.29, or without rollout 6.03. And on one attempt, it even did a 14.65 quarter mile. So a mid 14-second quarter mile is literally what you can expect from a WRX or an old EJ STI, if we're being honest. So you have the same performance level, but in a very unassuming package, and you're not going to be ticketed, you're not going to be targeted as much. For instance, when I had my Miata, which I recently sold, I got pulled over 3 times in that for driving defensively, driving in a way that I avoid accidents and get around bigger trucks and vehicles that didn't see me in their blind spot. But in this, you know, you don't feel like you're a criminal. You don't feel like having the external hood scoop and the wing on the back. Like, you're going to be targeted and watched and selected when you're getting pulled over in a line of cars moving as fast or faster than you. Because WRXs, for instance, are one of the highest pulled over and ticketed cars. Those and Mustangs, it seems like. But this, no one's going to bat their eye or take 2 glances at it because it just looks like a station wagon. The third thing I love about this is, for having the same performance as the WRX, you don't really have to compromise on anything. You have tons of back seat room. It's huge, so whether you do this, the Legacy, the Ascent, or even the WRX, you can fit full-size adults back there. And over 33 cubic feet of room back here. You don't really have to compromise on a lot of stuff. You also don't have to always worry about hooking stuff up to the roof rails. For instance, I still have my old snowboard helmet hiding back there, but usually when I go snowboarding with my buddy, I just fold down one set of seats and you can easily lay them in here. So you really don't have to compromise and think, if I take the performance car, what do I not get to do later? I can't haul many people, I can't haul much stuff, and usually there's trade-offs with performance cars, but not with something like a turbo Subaru. Next is the all-wheel drive, and especially on the turbo models, it's just that much more fun in the winter. You can drive through a lot of snow, but when you have the turbo, it's just a little bit easier to spin out, a little bit easier to have more fun. And if you think of how the X modes work on these, where it limits traction control and stability and it lets you spin the tires more to free yourself from a sticky situation, having the turbo to have twice as much low-end torque, it just makes it that much easier to get out of a sticky situation. Sure, the vehicle is still going to pull power and limit you and all those nannies that Subarus do kind of have because they are so safety focused and it is hard to get complete traction control turned off. But last winter, when I took out a bunch of turbo and non-turbo Subarus and I wanted to see how they did on different tires, brand new from the factory in this little snow blizzard we were having, it's interesting, these did break the tires loose easier and they were just a little bit more fun in general. I also did not film this, but I took out an STI on Blizzak winter tires. That thing was just like a cheat code, even more so than a regular Subaru, because of how well it could grip the wheels, how well it could grip the snow, how well it could propel itself forward with the extra power. And it's just really fun to have a turbo Subaru, especially in the snow or in any conditions where you need to put a little bit more power down to the wheels than the naturally aspirated engine would have. Number 5 relates to the braking capacity of this. So my Wilderness has just 17-inch wheels, but you can see it has a nice big disc in there to slow you down, that big rotor. So you don't need big old Brembos like you have on the old STIs, like the RA and some of those fancy package ones. This can stop depending on the road surface, depending on the tires, or specifically speaking for the Outback and between the testers and wear and temperature and all those things, they can stop anywhere from about 110 feet to 130 feet if you slam on the brakes from 60 miles an hour. And honestly, that's not too bad. That's not much longer distance than say like a C6 Corvette from a few years ago. So I'm pretty impressed with the braking capacity of this. That's not all go. It doesn't handle like turns super well, definitely not as well as the lower center of gravity WRX that has sport-tuned suspension for that, but the brakes at least can stop you pretty darn quickly if you need them on this vehicle. Number 6 is that Subaru builds a lot of cool aftermarket parts in-house. There's not really much for tuning for engine performance, so it's not as specific to the turbo model, but more in general that Subaru at the dealership, they offer you a lot of aftermarket parts for the roof rails, for the wheels, the tires. You can even get yours lifted from the dealership and do all of this under factory warranty. So it's kind of like a Toyota truck in that sense, that there's just a lot of aftermarket goodies. And because a lot of people like to throw money at their Subarus and customize them and make them their own and kind of share their personality on the road through their expression of their vehicle, it's cool that Subaru does a lot of that in-house so that you don't have to do it all third-party aftermarket. I guess some of those brands are third-party, but they're the trusted ones that have a proven reputation. Personally, other than the window tint on mine, the only thing I've done is install my Novsight LED light bar. Really bright, really cool. It's a 20-inch amber and white LED light. I have a 20% discount code if you guys are interested as an affiliate link from Novsight. The code is anonymous. But other than that, this really didn't need that many upgrades, at least in my opinion, but they're there if you want them. And then the 7th thing I love about owning this vehicle is it's just easy to maintain. It's easy to change the oil, to do a lot of the basic maintenance items, and after 40,000 miles, I haven't had a single hiccup or issue with it. The powertrain has been stout, the CVT has been fine. It is a little bit interesting getting used to the turbo surge power and the CVT for how it operates, but you can actually drive it really smoothly once you kind of figure out how the power band works on this. And then it can get better than EPA rated MPG. So to have a turbo Subaru that can run a mid 14-second quarter mile and get 30 miles per gallon on the highway in good conditions, not too bad, especially when you consider that the old EJs, like the STI, was only rated for about 17 city, 23 on the highway. So overall, it's efficient and it's powerful, at least for this vehicle. It makes very good use of 260 horsepower, especially when you're powering 3,500 to 4,500 pound vehicles, depending on which model your turbocharged engine is in. It feels like the vehicle is a lot lighter than you'd expect for the power numbers that are actually under the hood. And before we wrap this up, there's just 2 last maintenance items to mention. If you guys want to know what my all-time favorite turbocharged Subaru is, between the color, the transmission, the model, the trim level, all those things, I actually filmed that specific vehicle. I finally found one, but about 4 months ago. So I have a full review of that and then an impromptu driving impressions video. So they've been on my membership program for about 4 months. I'll make them public probably in the next month, but I have over 20 videos currently on my membership program because I can't just release everything at once. So if you're interested in checking out more videos right away, you're welcome to sign up for that program and support the channel. But otherwise, those will be out in the next month or 2, I'd imagine. And then the other thing is, after owning this for 3 years and after owning a 2025 Forester for over 2 months, I want to do a video comparing the different powertrains, having the modern turbo boxer engine and the modern naturally aspirated boxer engine. So pretty soon I'll film a video about what it's like to own each of those. Is it definitely crucial to have the turbocharged engine, and in what capacity and under what circumstances does it really make a difference, or does it not? So I'll share that soon. But anyways, guys, if you made it this far, thank you so much for watching. Please comment your thoughts and opinions below. What do you think about my list of 7 things to love about the Subaru? Do you love them? Do you hate them? Do you disagree entirely? Let me know in the comments. Like this video if you liked anything that you saw or heard today, and subscribe if you want to watch more stuff. And with that said, I wish you guys the best. Hope you take care. See you guys.